All right, we are live. Welcome to the All Gains Podcast channel. If you go out and check out our other channel, All Gains Mindset, feel free to go ahead. But in this review, pretty much a review, we're going to be talking about the movie we just saw last night on a cheap Dollar Tuesday. It was the Thunderbolts, aka New Avengers, but not really New Avengers. It's actually Thunderbolts. I don't care what anybody says.
It's the Thunderbolts.
We're just going to go right into it, guys. I thought it was all right. I thought it was better than the other crap that we've been getting. But it still doesn't really, for me personally, it doesn't really hit like the all-star levels, but it still has potential. It might have rewatch quality, and I like certain characters and stuff like that, but I'll let Mike go first because he goes into a little more detail.
Yeah, no, I think this movie is a very solid movie in comparison to a lot of the Phase 4 and 5 movies that we've gotten. This probably, for me, lines up with like things like Shang-Chi, things like Deadpool, Wolverine, Spider-Man, No Way Home, movies like that. A lot of those movies are very solid. Oh, and the new Captain America movie would be up there as well. Solid movie. Story was pretty good. The villain characters were very interesting. The Void, which I'm pretty sure everyone knows. This is gonna be a spoiler review, guys.
We're gonna go to spoilers starting right now.
Yeah, The Void. Very compelling. Love that.
Yeah, I like the shadow. Like I like just he's nothing. Like yeah, I love that actually.
Love
great effect.
Absolutely.
And the eyes, you just have like a small little
dots. Yeah. The action in this movie is great. The Bucky is amazing in this movie.
Yeah.
Bucky's just amazing. But there are a few things that that hurt it a little bit, and it's not fully its fault. I don't think. I think it's more of not just us as fans, but also just the other movies of the MCU kind of hurt it as well. And we'll get into that in a little bit.
Right, I'll get into it right now, actually. So just because it's on my mind and I need to say it now. So one of the things that, of course, every Marvel movie seems to have these days is just this overt feminism, pretty much hitting you, pretty much putting men down. It's pretty much in most Marvel movies, if not most movies today. For example, I'm going to give some examples of the story. So in the beginning, Yelena, actually what I do like, I'll say this first. Yelena is basically saying, I'm depressed. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no one to come home to. I have no man, pretty much. They're not going to say that she has no man because that goes against whatever writing laws they have for some reason. She wants a man. All she does is work. All she does is drink. She goes home, and then she repeats the process. And I like that. That could relate to many girls these days. I say that all the time. A lot of girls are actually just depressed and lack of masculinity. So all they do is go to work. They're the boss girls of the world. All they do is go to work, go home, drink. Maybe they have a kid, and then they look after the kid. And then they just repeat the process, and there's no really like shining light in their lives, and there's kind of like there's a void, no pun intended.
The void.
So I do like how Yelena in the beginning kind of does represent a lot of girls, and they could probably relate to that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then, of course, there is some hating on men, right? So there's a part where, for example, she goes to see her dad, the Red Guardian, and of course he's already a joke in the last movie, Black Widow, which we're never going to see again, never going to talk about again. Don't ever watch that movie ever again.
Don't.
But basically, Red Guardian's just sitting there eating Cheetos. He's alone and he does nothing. He has no purpose. He's a loser pretty much in today's standards. Has nothing going on. She goes there and he's pretending to be, like, oh, my life is great. I'm full. I'm so full, so filled, as he said. But in reality, then a couple minutes later, he's like, "Never mind, I'm depressed. I hate myself. Look at who I am." So he's of course getting messed up in the story, which I guess is a lot of guys. Once again, a lot of guys can relate to that, so that's fine. That makes sense. And then Yelena's like, I feel the same way. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And then so that happens. And then there's a scene where she calls her boss Fontaine, that bitch. Who cares? And then she's just like, I'm done doing this. I want to be in the spotlight a little bit more. And then Valentina Fontaine, whatever her name is, she's like, oh, that's fine. I love promoting women. Just straight up says that. I'm just like I know they wrote that for a reason to the script. I know you guys you're not dumb. You guys, when you hear these things in the movies, you're just looking at your girl that you probably went to the movie to see with, and you're just like, what? That's what I said. I looked at Mike. I was like, what? Why'd you even why they had to feel the need to say that outright for some reason? And it's just cringe. No one laughed at that. It was just like, what?
Yeah, and we understand, like, as Valentina as a character, she in the comics, she is more of like a feministic type of woman and stuff like that. But then when you have movies that precede it, kind of like both Captain Marvel movies, Black Widow,
They all do that.
Things like that. It's like real shoved in your mouth. Like they're pummeling you with those jokes and those overt like messages. And so when you hear it in other movies after that, you're kind of just like, oh, okay,
Right.
whatever. And like it kind of ruins it. But like even though like this character, like it works for the character and it works for this person and the scene, it makes sense. But when you were already shoved like it down your throat, you're full. You are exhausted of it, and it hurts. It makes no sense, and you're just like, oh my god, like I don't want to listen to that. But like it kind of it's hurtful from the perspective of the other movies of the MCU, and not more of it's from itself. It's more of the other movies ruin it, and that's what I was kind of alluding to earlier. Right. Is that a lot of these previous movies kind of screw up things that could have been really could have made sense and been okay for this movie in a vacuum. Yeah. For a good example of that is towards the end when they're fighting in the void and Elena goes to go save Bob from him beating the crap out of the void. She does all these different jumps and spins and like to evade all the things that are getting flown at her from what the void is trying to stop her. And it looks so Black Widow-ish, and it's so terrible because like in Black Widow, I hope you never watched it, but in Black Widow, pretty much they like fall from great distances and don't die. They like do all these crazy things and just don't it looks like they don't have gravity. They're just doing all these crazy things that make no sense whatsoever. And that's kind of what it looked like. I mean, granted, they're in the void, so it who knows what like the rules are, but it just looked so terrible, and it just reminded me of Black Widow, and I just was like, no, I don't like that part.
Yeah, and then there was a scene where they're still escaping from they just met Bob, and they're trying to escape from that whole thing where they almost got incinerated, and John Walker's getting tested. Of course, he's getting made fun of the whole movie. By the way, they're just mocking him. He never really gets a moment to shine. And that's another part I don't like. But besides that, he has a moment where he gets frustrated at Bob and he tries to like choke him. And then, they got some beef. And then Yelena comes out, hold on, calm your little dicks down. And I was like, oh my God, just the fact that someone wrote that for a reason. So little comments like that, I'm just like, I know what they're doing. Yeah. And it's not funny. No one laughed in the theater that we were in. Yeah. So I already know that that's just stupid that they wrote that. So that's just another.
Yeah. And I think that brings back up to like my point. Cause like with what I said earlier is that like a lot of these other movies kind of like ruin that. Cause like if they weren't just so like into women, and then they put that in there. And if they were more, I feel like if they were like getting more riled up with each other, both Bob and John Walker probably would have worked a little bit better. It might have, but it's just not a good line. It makes sense for the character, but other movies ruin it.
Yeah. The problem with John Walker is that he's just a punching bag in this movie. He's not really meant. He's just kind of there just like Ghost is throughout the movie. He doesn't really get his moment to shine. He's mostly just there to get beat up by the girls, and they're just constantly mocking him the whole time. Of course, his plot is like the thing you feel bad about is that his wife and his kid, they leave him. Yeah, basically, and then he in the movie he's basically looking at his phone in one scene. It implies that he was neglecting his child and he was just a piece of crap dad, and that's why his girl left him.
Yeah, so you get that about himself.
And you get that sad story, and basically he's just getting made fun of the whole time. He says things and the girls are like, "Oh, shut up!" Like the whole time. He doesn't really get his moment to actually do something worth it. Yeah, he's just kind of there to be another super soldier, pretty much, to help basically just like Red Guardian. Yeah. So they didn't really give him a lot to work with, and he's basically just like he was in the Falcon and Winter Soldier, just to get beat up on. And I stand by that John Walker did nothing wrong, so he doesn't really deserve all that treatment. No, and they should have done his character a little bit better.
Yeah, and I agree, and I feel like he was overly hated in this movie, and I feel like it's mostly our fault as fans. I feel like when the Falcon and Winter Soldier came out, and they showed, oh, this guy's is the new Captain America, and everyone's like, no, fuck that guy. Like, we don't like this guy. He's a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah.
I liked him.
Whatever. And like, everyone got so riled up online about John Walker and the character. and how he was, and everyone just like was like, you need to die. Like everyone was so crazy about him. They did not like him whatsoever. And so maybe Marvel was like, okay, these fans, they don't really like him. They don't like him whatsoever. So let's just beat him up mentally throughout the entire movie just to please those people. And I feel like it doesn't help John Walker as a character. I did, like Andrew said, I enjoyed the moments where like it showed him with his, neglecting his child, and he and how he's more just focused on himself.
But you do feel bad for him, even though it is his fault. I mean, he was on his phone, not talking, and he obviously had no game. That's the problem with all the guys in these movies. They ain't smashing. Like no one's having sex. Have you noticed that? Like, am I the only one that noticed that? No guys. This is not James Bond anymore. No guys getting girls at all. Like it's crazy, which does make sense because most guys ain't smashing anymore. It seems like
I mean, Bucky could, but he's like 150.
Yeah, Bucky's
he's been out of the game for like 100 years. So I mean, like
Bucky is voluntary celibate. I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
He just ain't. I mean, no one's smashing anybody. That's crazy. I mean, who am I to complain? I guess, but it's like, bro, isn't anyone gonna smash? Doesn't anyone get a girl? Like no one in these movies gets a girl anymore. Captain America
smash.
The only one who got a girl was Tony Stark and Captain America and Bruce Banner and Thor. Yeah. Is there anyone else I'm missing? Like everybody else is not smashing. Nobody else is having sex.
Yeah,
I know it's weird. I know it's a weird thought.
Natasha too, but like,
well, she can get it, but she's too much focused into work, just like most girls these days. So that's fine.
She uses it in work, I guess. No, but like, what were we talking about? I was
like, but if I get a thought, I have to say it now because people need to know.
You went off on such a tangent, but like, John Walker, like I love that that they really shined on a lot of like the darkness of his character and like in that mental health. In the mental health side of like, he's depressed because his wife left him, and he doesn't, I don't know if he fully understands that it's like his fault. He probably does towards the end, but like he went through such a shitstorm of things happening to him where like he was pretty much given like the mantle of Captain America. It was then ripped from him when he became overly emotional. He was pretty much what was it? Unceremoniously discharged or whatever it's called. He then pretty much gets shunned from like the public, and Valentina just tries to pick him up, but he's so still down about that whole specific situation that like it ruins his marriage. It ruins his ability to be with his child. And it's all on him, and you feel bad for him because everyone's got their own problems, and that's what I like about this movie too, is that they really show on like certain things about mental health and like how it can really affect people, especially people you might not know, and they really try to show like how you yourself can get away from certain like inner darkness that you might have. And that's kind of like what the Void is like. It's like the ultimate depression kind of like thing.
Right. Yeah, many people do, they're very depressed these days. So the movie does hit, at least there is a theme. Yeah. So that is another positive to the movie. There's an actual theme to this, and there's actual things that's going on and the characters are going through, and it's about overcoming that. And really it's a lot of symbolism when he's punching the Void. He's like, and the Void is like ha ha ha, because he's laughing in the background because the darkness is creeping up on him, because that's like a symbolism of the darkness fully taking over you. And then it shows that you have people who care about you, like the Thunderbolts come in, they give him like a hug and they try to like grab him off. So it's some good symbolism right there, like it's okay, you're not alone, you don't have to do this alone. They grab him off and then they pull him off the Void, and that's how he wins, and that's how he basically overcomes his dark side. So I thought that was pretty cool. So at least there is a theme. Yeah. And the theme is overcame, and of course then the ending happens, and it's just like, bro, what? What? It just ends, and everybody's like, yeah, we own you now. It's like, no, you don't.
You don't own me.
Yeah, we'll see where that plot thread goes. Probably out the window.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're gonna immediately find out in Doomsday, but the overwhelming like aspect of mental health in the movie, I feel like as a theme is very good, especially for like these characters specifically. This works so well for like the characters that are in there. Elena, as we already talked about, super depressed, alone, has nothing. Red Guardian, the same. John Walker, we find out, is the same. And Ghost is she has like her dad.
Yeah.
You know,
she's
Foster.
there, but she's not really there. She doesn't really do much. I mean,
she just goes invisible a lot.
Yeah.
But all right, I'm gonna bring up a really annoying thing I had about this movie, and I mean, like, it's fine because it didn't really affect much, but it kind of annoyed me because it was just in the marketing so much, and like it was gone in an instant. And I'm going to talk about Taskmaster. Now, I don't give a shit about Taskmaster, especially
that character's already been destroyed.
Post Black Widow, and this is what I think about, because like the John Walker thing and the feminism thing, I feel like it's our fault, but also their fault for all these things happening, because Taskmaster as an actual character in like the comics is awesome, is a freaking cool villain, is a cool character. And yet they screwed it up in Black Widow. They did not know what the heck they were doing with that character, ruined the character. Everyone hated the character. And so when they said, oh yeah, no, Taskmaster is going to be in this movie too, everyone's like, okay, well, hopefully you redeem this character, kind of like how we thought about hopefully they redeemed Red Guardian and everything like that. And then you're like 15 minutes into the movie and Taskmaster just gets her head blown off and is just dead. and then the rest of the movie is just without
wasted.
Taskmaster.
But I mean, I don't even care.
Yeah, like,
just kill somebody.
It's their fault on them writing a horrible character, but then it's also our fault for overly hating the character and them not giving Taskmaster a chance to be like redeemed and act like kind of like John Walker, kind of like Red Guardian. Well, mostly Red Guardian was more redeemed than really anything.
Yeah.
But the thing with me is like you're like, yeah, Taskmaster's gonna be in this movie, and then Taskmaster's in the movie for 15 minutes, and you clearly like show her getting
more like
head shot off.
More like 3 minutes or 4 minutes. She's only in there for one scene.
Well, I mean, she has like 15 minutes of screen time. No, 15 minutes, 15 seconds of screen time. I'm pretty sure. But like 15. But I'm saying like 15 minutes into the movie itself, like her head gets blown off, and like that's it. Like you don't see anything else.
Fine.
You never see her ever again. Like the character itself was just written horribly in Black Widow. Horrible. But it could have been redeemed. The character itself is awesome. It's an awesome character. So many heroes have fought Taskmaster, and it's really cool. But they just were just like, yeah, no, this character's ruined. Let's just get rid of it.
Might as well. Okay. I agree with that. Might
throw it in the bin.
Yeah, whatever.
But like, it was so unceremoniously too. Like it didn't. Like it wasn't even that cool. It was just shot, killed. That's it.
By Ghost.
Goodbye.
Yeah. That's the only meaningful thing Ghost did in this whole movie.
Like, okay, you're gone. Okay, that's great. I guess. Whatever. It bothered me because like you're trying to show like how Marvel tried putting out this movie in the beginning was like when they were first initially like and then it might have been a thing going into like a lot of the reshoots, because I think they did a lot of reshoots for this movie. I think one of the bigger things was that like when they first announced this movie and announced the cast, I feel like this was more of like, okay, we're going to redeem these characters. A lot of these characters, they were either from poor movies, poorly written in whatever they were from, and hopefully this can be redeemed. All these characters can be like redeemable and at least be like a more human-like and more understandable. But then you just immediately annihilate one of them just out of the movie, and then we have the other ones. Now the other ones they did a good job with, but like you just take out just one just immediately, and we just never see them again. I feel like. And I saw it coming when I started seeing the other trailers, and like I just saw Taskmaster less and less. I was like, well, you know, they're not going to be in this movie.
Yeah, I mean,
at all.
But I mean, the movie really wasn't too bad. It just wasn't. I mean, it didn't really hit me the way movies used to hit me. But then again,
I'm going to say right now, the Sentry action, action
that was
Sentry in the Avengers Tower was awesome. Like that, it looked real good. he was throwing him around like it was nothing.
I thought he was gonna Mace Windu
Red Guardian.
Red Guardian at that one point when he threw him out the window. I was like, oh, she just Mace Windowed him, but then he brought him back. I was like, okay, cool. That would have been insane.
Awesome. Yeah,
and I was like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah, he would have been dead. That would have been it.
But yeah, Sentry was the coolest. Bob and Sentry and Void, and they were the coolest part of
the best part
of the movie, no doubt. I want to see more Bob. I want to see more of that character. That's actually the first time they finally introduced a character that I'm actually kind of interested to know. So I want to see where they go with that, and like Doomsday, because I want to see Dr. Doom against Sentry real quick. Oh and God. I told Mike last night, if Dr. Doom somehow takes control of Sentry, everybody's fucked.
Yeah,
it's over. It's over. It's done. Like he's good. Everybody's dead.
Over. Yeah, like Sentry is such like an overpowered character, and like we had before that, we had Vision, who was like the most overpowered character, I guess. Like not even considering Wanda yet, because she didn't tap into her potential. Like. And Vision was like overly nerfed in Infinity War, and so if they don't do that to Sentry in Doomsday, I feel like he's like just super OP. Like he's just gonna like wipe through like a lot of people.
Yeah. Like if Dr. Doom somehow takes control of him and has him as his like henchman, like everybody's in big trouble.
Like what Valentina kind of did in this movie, like where like she influenced him to do all those things. Like if it gets like that, like the Avengers are screwed. Like they're all screwed. Like he's a really cool character, and the action was great. I loved I loved that he ripped off Bucky's arm and then slapped him with it.
Yeah.
In the fight. That was really good. I really enjoyed that. But overall, guys, like this movie, it had a lot of fun moments. The main character of Bob and the Void, very compelling, very good, great. Elena is technically the main character of this movie. I feel like her character is pretty much fully redeemed of like any of the bad writing that was given to her,
and she's a realistic character when it comes to like the real world.
And I really liked her in when she appeared in Hawkeye. I thought she was really good. I
never watched Hawkeye, so I don't know about that.
For what she wasn't really in it for that long, but like a lot of the writing in there was really good. In Black Widow, I mean, like she was okay, but like that whole movie was just trash regardless.
Yeah, so we don't talk about that.
We don't really like to think about that as much, but
but I'm gonna give
she was great. Red Guardian was a little bit more redeemed in this. I mean, like he was
still a joke, but
his character was completely destroyed in Black Widow, and it's really sad. But like at least like in this movie, it was a little bit better. Like I felt good to see him, and I didn't feel like sad because like when he fought Taskmaster and Black Widow, I was just real sad because he was just terrible. I was like, bro.
I like this guy has so much potential.
Yeah,
but, I mean,
and Ghost, I feel like is
she's there. Honestly,
she's there. They probably could have done a little bit more with her, but I did.
Her and John Walker
I did
just
like
wasted.
her action. I did like her action though, where like she was just fighting people and then would just phase through and just because like anytime like she can get like anytime that like she might have been in trouble, she just phases and then just beats them up, which I find funny. I did like that. But the whole overall like this movie is solid. Now I'm gonna bring up a little picture here, and it's gonna show a lot of the Rotten Tomatoes scores from all the previous movies of 4 and 5. And we're going to see where it ranks. We're going to see where the other movies rank. And then I'm going to talk about what I think about these, because I feel like a lot of these movies, like they might have gotten a low score or a high score, but I feel like certain ones deserve certain scores and the other ones just didn't. So let me go bring that up right now.
Yeah, I'm probably going to give this movie personally like a 6 out of 10. You know, could have been better, but it could have been a lot worse. Like it was all right, you know.
Yeah. I think
it's I like certain things from it. And then, you know, Marvel has potential. They just waste it on I don't know who they're trying to please, but it's not pleasing me.
Yeah.
But some of it is pretty cool, you know, especially the Bob stuff.
Now looking at the scores here, so No Way Home is at a 93. That's the top, and I completely agree. Shang-Chi is at 92. I think it was a pretty solid movie. I'd leave it up at the top somewhere.
Yeah, from what I remember.
I don't know why Far From Home's on here, because I'm pretty sure that was still a Phase 3 movie, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a 91. Oh, I think this is all movies post Endgame. So anything that was released after Endgame. So that's why it's on here. Then the what's called now New Avengers, and not the Thunderbolts, is an 88. I mean, like, yeah, I consider it up there. I would think it would be
better than Far From Home, no doubt about that.
I mean, I think it's better than a lot of the other movies that we're about to talk about, like Wakanda Forever. which is like it's fine, but it's really it just depresses me because of Chadwick Boseman and everything like that. Guardians 3 is up here at 82. And I think that could be a little lower. I mean, it was fine, but like there was a lot of things that just kind of ruined it for me. Black Widow is somehow at 79. That should be like at 0. That is not a good movie.
Yeah.
it's so like laughable. Just watch the Mauler like 2 hour or however hour long like video on Black Widow, and then you'll just understand. Deadpool and Wolverine is below that somehow, and I think that should be way up here with with
Rod
these guys.
is a lie.
It should just be way up here. And then Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is at 74. I feel like that honestly that could probably just stay where it is. And
I should go down to a 60 or 50.
Thor: Love and Thunder is after that at 63.
That should be a 3 out of 100.
Yeah, honestly. That should be a little bit lower. And then the Marvels at 62. That should also be at 0. I didn't actually watch that, but I don't.
I'm not going to watch it.
I just know it's not good, except for the post-credit scene. I know that.
I only know that there's a character named Kamala because in that episode of Daredevil: Born Again, they just keep talking about Kamala. So that's the only reason I know her name.
And then Captain America: Brave New World had a 48%, which is crazy. I think that should be like
it should have been at least above Black Widow.
Yeah, definitely above Black Widow. And then Eternals at 47. Yeah,
makes sense. Now that makes sense.
Yeah, and then Quantumania at 46.
Now that also makes sense.
That also makes sense. So like these movies
disrespected Kang.
Disrespected everybody.
Yeah, true. Everybody loses.
This ranking, like these scores, I like some of them make sense. A lot of them just don't. Like,
yeah, it's dumb.
And I feel like if I was to rank these movies right now, if I just by looking at them, No Way Home is at the top. I'd probably put Deadpool Wolverine next. Then I'd probably do what the hell? I'd probably do Shang-Chi. Then I'd probably put the New Avengers, Captain America. I'm trying to think. Guardians, then probably the Guardians, then probably Wakanda Forever, and then I don't give a shit about everything else. They can all just be at the bottom for me. Like it's whatever. Like they're just not. To me, Phase 4 and 5 have not been the greatest, especially in terms of writing. Now, a lot of like the stylistic tones of a lot of these movies have been great. And that's because, of the times and how movies are produced and created. A lot of the stuff can look good. Some of the CGI, though, a little bit of a different story.
Yeah,
I mean, this movie had pretty decent CGI. It wasn't that crazy. I know Andrew said in the theater, he didn't like how like when they were fighting Sentry, it looked like they weren't even touching him. But I was trying to explain to him that Sentry.
It wasn't a force field when Bucky hit him though, but there was a force field when the knife was going to. I was like, okay,
yeah, because like punches don't do anything.
But it still hit him though. But the knife did not touch him. I think certain things.
I think it's mostly because Sentry would rather you punch him than hit him with a knife because you never know what could be on a knife.
Yeah, true.
So I feel like
kryptonite.
Yeah, so like. He was like, oh, it looked like it was poor CGI because it wasn't touching him or whatever. But like Sentry has like a force field thing that can and he can just make that appear. So like when Red Guardian was trying to use the knife on him and like the knife broke and all you see is like the shards of the knife like far away from him. Like, yeah, it looks that way, but I take that more of as like a stylistic choice based on like his force field ability and stuff. But yeah, like a lot of these movies, like they were poorly written. Post Endgame, there've only been like probably 5 movies since Endgame that have been written pretty well. And I'll even add Far From Home into that too, because I feel like Far From Home, like it has its flaws, but like certain parts of the movie are written very well, I think, in my opinion. But
yeah, I mean, Hollywood just got to step up their game and they got to get better at writing and stuff like that. I mean, there's potential for good movies like Sinners is out right now. A lot of people are loving that. Like, Hollywood's not dead. It's just been crippled.
Yeah, it's very crippled, and I'm hoping that it could be redeemed. But I just think Hollywood just has cannibalized itself, and also thinks that it shit don't stink, but it's very smelly. It's very smelly. It does not smell
Absolutely.
good. But I do have something I want to show. I haven't reacted to this yet, and I really want to. There's We're gonna switch over from Marvel to Star Wars now. We're gonna talk about this because Star Wars, Disney Star Wars specifically, has been awful.
I'm never gonna watch it. Never will. Never have. And complete trash. I
Yeah.
hate it.
Like I'm not watching.
They killed it.
Yeah, I'm not watching Andor right now.
It's dead.
I did watch the animated show that just came out for May the 4th, Tales of the Underworld. That was actually pretty good. But a lot of the live action stuff post Mandalorian season 2 have not been good. The only real redeeming qualities of Disney Star Wars has been anything animated and Mandalorian season 1 and 2 and Rogue One, I guess. They have not been able to do anything right with Star Wars. I don't think they really understand what Star Wars is anymore.
Correct.
And so one of a Star Wars YouTuber, Star Wars Theory, we talked about him on the All Gains Mindset channel once before. And he's like done his, I think he did a fan film for Vader, a live action fan film. It was called Vader Shards of the Past or something like that. And he's doing 2 sequels, I think, to that, but they're going to be animated. And he put out a teaser trailer, I think, like a month ago or so. And I've been holding off to react to it because I kind of want to do it for something like this. And so since we were doing Thunderbolts, it just made sense to just clip this in here because it deals with Hollywood. And I feel like if this trailer that we're going to watch is actually really good, then Hollywood needs to step up their game because someone who, that's
He's not getting a big budget.
Yeah, it's all, and whatever budget he has, it's from whatever he's made, like from being on YouTube and
Right.
and whatever his other businesses and stuff like that. So like he's doing it on his own, where Lucasfilm has the power of, themselves, but also Disney, and they're not doing anything.
Yeah,
good.
just mess it up.
I'm gonna go and pull up the thing now.
Let's do it.
And let's that way we can react to it because I've really wanted to watch this and I just haven't had the chance to. And I feel like it'd be great for us to really look at this and see like what what this actually if this actually could be something. Let's see. Boom, boom. Yeah, that'd be good for us. All right, let's watch it. That was cool.
Yeah, it automatically looks better than anything Star Wars has produced since 2005. No, all right, fine, since 2015, I guess Rogue One.
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty cool. I'd watch it. Like a guy like it looks pretty badass. Like
Yeah.
you could do like independent creators can do a lot more, and they know the source material better than most studios because most studios are corrupted, unfortunately.
yeah.
But the people who actually love this content can actually do a better job, as seen right there. So I enjoyed that. I want to see like what they do with it. Vader looks like a complete badass, like how he should. He's one of the greatest villains of all time. Literally, I mean, you can't really refuse that. He is. So that was a cool entrance. I like the stormtroopers. I like visually, it looks great.
Yeah, and it looks like it's more of like towards the era, like early Empire era. So it looks like a lot of those troopers
Yeah.
were like clone troopers.
And they're gonna
Style.
slowly be transformed into
Into
stormtroopers.
the stormtroopers. Yeah. Yeah, because I think the first, because this was like that was Vader 2 clearly, and so like in the first one, like I know at the end of it he goes to Naboo, because I think they're the Jedi that are there. They're trying to go to like Padme's grave or something like that or something. And so now he has to go. I guess he's going to go and fight them all.
Vader's
But
being,
like it's really awesome that like creators, like I know there's a million other creators that are doing fan films like that. And some of them look really good, some of them I mean don't, but it's like the thought process and like how the creativity that goes along with trying to create a fan film.
they're just very passionate about their art.
Yeah, and I
They
feel
actually
like,
care.
yeah, and I feel like a lot of, especially if I talk about Lucasfilm specifically, I think a lot of the creators that are within Lucasfilm, I feel like there's like a big divide of them. I feel like there's like a good portion that like really care about Star Wars and really like, especially like Star Wars pre-Disney, and then I feel like there's like an overwhelming majority of people in there that pretty much are like Kylo Ren, and it's like let the past die,
Right.
type of thing.
Like me.
And they're just like doing, they're just trying to do whatever they feel like is okay, and it's just not, it just doesn't work for Star Wars. And I feel like Hollywood has this problem where they want to take IPs, and I feel like, I mean, this is mostly, I feel like this is also a big Disney problem, is like they like to take IPs and then just
Right.
like
Destroy it.
Yeah, just make movies where the storyline could have been a better movie as a different IP or like as its own thing and not an IP. Because sometimes when you do stuff like that and you take an IP and you do something that doesn't really work with the IP itself, you ruin the IP. You ruin what the IP stands for and what it means. Where if you did it as its own thing, it would have it would have worked perfectly, and you could have made something out of it if it was successful. Now, because you added this IP to it, like Star Wars, for example, of course you're going to get eyes on it. There's at least 4 million people. I think the Star Wars YouTube channel has like 4 million subscribers. So
Yeah.
if you put it into that perspective, you have 4 million people that are going to tune in to see what this trailer is about, right? But if it's, something that, if it's a topic, if it has an underlying topic of something that just doesn't, that is just not Star Wars, and it could have been its own thing without the Star Wars name, it's gonna ruin the brand. It just hinders the potential that Star Wars would have. If you do it as its own thing, then it's its own thing, and
Right.
it can fail or not fail. But because you put in the IP, now you have a lot of people going to it. You have a lot of money going into it, right? The people are paying to go see it, but now the fans are now upset because the movie is just it's just not Star Wars.
You got to find the middle ground. We really got to teach these studios a lesson, like, hey, cut the crap, stop being politically incorrect or whatever, and just make good stories, and we'll pay to see it. And then you could actually make big studios because you've earned it.
Yeah.
A lot of studios do not earn your money, do not earn our money, and they need to suffer the consequences or adapt to the times and actually make good stories. Stop trying to please the small minority of people that just shout on Twitter. Actually make a good story. Actually get the balls to make a statement, even if it's not something everybody would agree with. Just make your own creation. That's why a lot of movies, when directors take full control, those are some of the best movies, because the studio doesn't hinder the performance of the director and his art, and the actors actually method acting and doing their own thing. When studio meddling is not involved, those movies get a chance to shine.
Yeah, like Spider-Man 3, for example, like 2007 Spider-Man 3, where Sony like pretty much was just like, put this guy in it, and put this in it, and put this in it, and then Sam Raimi was like, fuck,
he's like,
stop.
crap.
And then the movie like wasn't like the greatest, because like Spider-Man 2 is like the best movie. It's just like one of the best superhero movies. And then with
X-Men 2 also.
Yeah, but like Spider-Man 3 follows up. When Spider-Man 3 follows up with that, and that's the same thing with X3. Like Spider-Man 3, X3, like you have a really solid, like amazing movie, right? And then the sequel to that is just absolute trash because the studio pretty much comes in and was just like, yeah, you should, do this instead of this and stuff, and not letting the director and the person who's running the actual production like do their job, and it takes away morale of the production, and it kind of ruins how the movie will end up turning out in the long run.
Right.
But the studios don't fully see that because they kind of just want to, because they know from the previous movie there's going to be a lot of people wanting to go see the next one because the previous one did so well. And so that's really what they care about. They don't really care about what it really means. Where fans, people who want to go see it, they care about what it means.
Right.
They don't care about how much money it made. Like, it's cool. Like, it's cool that Infinity War and Endgame, hit like over $1 billion and are like the top 3.
Yeah, they've earned it.
Highest grossing movies. But like that doesn't matter to a lot of fans, because what matters is like the movie experience and then the rewatchability and how we felt watching that movie. Like, we will never have an experience in the movie theater like at Infinity War and Endgame ever again. Like, I don't care what Doctor Doom, Doomsday, and Secret Wars does. They can get close, but they will never be. They will never be Infinity War and Endgame.
It's possible.
And like I hate to say it like that, because then it kind of ruins like our experience going into those movies. And I'm gonna do my best to just blank them out. But like we know just realistically, because they were the first ones.
Yeah.
Right? They were the first ones. And if Doomsday and Secret Wars can overdo it and can really bring stuff to the table and compete against those movies, then I would love that. But we know that
highly unlikely.
Hollywood can't. They can't. They're just too focused on the money. They're just really focused on the monetary value of these movies and how much money they can bring in. And fans don't care about that. We don't. We care about the story. We care about the characters. We care about the experience of watching the movie. And it's just a sad truth that we have to dealing with Hollywood nowadays, because they've lost their touch, and I feel like creators can do a lot better than a lot of these studios.
But we'll have to see what happens, and we'll see what the future brings. So hopefully you guys enjoy this discussion here and find some value. We'll definitely have some more thoughts we'll get into in the future, but we'll have to see what happens, and hopefully they can only get better from here. Hopefully they can learn their lesson, step up, and see what happens. So definitely leave a comment, let us know what you guys thought, and definitely like the video. You can also check out our other channel, All Games Mindset. You can also check out allgamestore.com if you want to check out the cool merch we got. We got hats, coffee, hoodies, mugs, you name it. We got a lot of good stuff, so definitely check that out. We're going to see you guys in the next video.